How's it going, my trim people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back with week 2 of the PPL, as this week, your Cotswold Women's Cots go up against Frank Trode and his FC Volcarona. His link, along with all the other coaches, will be down in the description. Go and check him out. Frank and I, for those of you that don't know, share a surname. Well, in my case, a part nationality. We have a lot in common. I feel like he's like that cousin that you never get to meet, and then one day when you're in well into adulthood, right? You go to some sort of family event, I don't know, like the grandparent that you don't really like's popped their clogs, you know. And you go to this event and this cousin's there, and he's like, I never met this guy. Has he always been a part of my family? Maybe I'm the only one that has 25 aunties and uncles, and so has cousins remote enough that they've never met them. But anyway, by the by, you meet the cousin, and you're like, holy shit. Are we the same person? We share a single brain cell, I think, so maybe we are. And amongst the PPL coaches, I feel like we're kind of the two biggest shit posters, I want to say. I don't know, because I'm just locked myself out of my phone to check if he's ready. I can't remember my passcode. Why is it so long? Oh, there we go. Anyway, I feel like there's a lot of shit posters in the PPL, but me and Frank are pretty high tier shit posters, I'd say. You know, the one thing I'll give myself credit for in this life is that I'm good at making absolutely no fucking sense to anyone but myself. Not really a skill you want, but it's one I have, so that's what it is. I also don't know why he put mud in. I don't know if you can see up there, look. Matt versus Frank Mud. Oh, because I told him I was going to mud wrestle him. I did say we had some difficulty scheduling. He was having a bath or something. I can't remember. Fucking who cleans, right? Oh, he's got it. All right. He's ready. Good luck. Have fun. His capture card may or may not work. So you may or may not see his side of this on his channel. I would go check out his channel, if for no other reason than to find out did his capture card work? Does it play country music if you do Southern Pokemon? How does that work? I don't know. Oh. He still needs some time. I'll keep talking. I'm happy to do that. So anyway, what was I saying about? I challenged him to a mud wrestle because we were having some difficulty scheduling, and I said, well, look, if we can't get this game done in time and the competition ends, then fuck it. Let's just meet on a neutral ground. I can't remember where I proposed. Probably Belgium. Brussels. That would be very Brexit of me. That sounds like the joke I would make. We'll meet on neutral ground like Brussels and mud wrestle to decide who is the superior shit poster / Pokemon trainer. I think I'd lose. I don't know. Maybe I could take him. No, get your bets down below. Would I be good at mud wrestling? I feel like I would take well to the mud aspect. I would love caking my body in mud. Nothing sounds more pleasurable. But the wrestling part, I had to do. Here's a fun story for you. I'm just letting him know that it's okay that he isn't ready. Here's a fun story for you, because I know you're all subscribed for Storytime and you don't want Draft League battles. Shout out to all the new people that started watching PPL for the really good content creators that came last season and are now sat watching this thinking, what the fuck is this bullshit? Well, I don't know either. Anyway, we're 4 minutes in and I haven't told you the story. When I was a kid, I was getting picked on a lot, right? I feel like that's probably a fairly common theme for those of us still playing Pokemon well into our adulthoods. Sorry for everyone that I've just called out with that, but I feel like a lot of us, we were in the same boat as children, you know what I mean? And my mum was like, look, when you get picked on, you gotta fight back. You gotta hit them back. You gotta stand up for yourself. And I was like, yeah, it's not really happening. So she enrolled me in kickboxing classes, evening classes. The idea being that if I could toughen up a little bit, if I could look after myself at kickboxing, then maybe I'd stand up for myself at school. By the way, ignore Tornadus' item. It's clearly not. I must be running an acrobatic set because I can't spot his item. That green camouflages too well. It looks incredibly phallic. I'm getting sidetracked. So she took me to kickboxing classes. Well, I say she took me. She dropped me off and left. She didn't participate. And at the end of each class, we would do pad work. You'd hit the pads and stuff. Then at the end of each class, they would say spar, right? After a few weeks of doing it. So I'd made friends in this class. And then I was told to put on helmets and gloves and essentially just beat the shit out of each other. And I couldn't really do it. I would be there with the instructor just being like, but why? Why am I hitting this child that's supposedly my friend. I know that he's punched me 3 times in the nose and it really fucking hurt, but like that's because you told him to do it, so I'm not really mad at him. And I just really struggled with the concept of like punching another child. Maybe I should have been an actor, because I wanted to know what was my character's motivation in this situation. Or why am I hitting him? What are my reasons for doing so? Maybe that's why I became a writer, so I could get in the characters' heads. I don't know. But either way, I couldn't do it, so I was rubbish. So I did kickboxing for a few years. You should have seen me with pads. Oh, when I was hitting pads and punching bags, I was incredible. I was like a young Muhammad Ali. I was just, so good. Probably. But then when it came to hitting people, I would just stand there and just try and dodge and never throw back a single punch. So yeah, my family stopped paying for that after a while, because when you don't have much money to begin with, paying for kickboxing classes where your son just gets beaten up like he does at school kind of isn't really worth it, is it? You're kind of like just paying to have him bullied again, but this time you're telling him that it's beneficial for him. Parenting is tricky in defense of my parents, you know. No one gave them a book on how to do it. So wrestling, to the point. I feel like with Frank, if it was like who could cover themselves in more mud, that contest I could win. But unless he like called my mum a whore or something immediately before we started, and then in that case I'd probably just laugh. But if he did something actually offensive before the mud wrestling, maybe I could win the wrestling part. But otherwise, I would just need to know the motivation the whole time. He says all is good. I'm asking him, should I search now? Who knows? Who knows, you know? So, I did come into this video with a sort of topic in mind that I wanted to discuss. I read something the other day that's been on my mind about YouTube a lot. And those of you that have followed the channel for a long time will know that I like to talk about certain topics in my... Okay, he's searching. Oh, go. I want the southern Pokemon. I want the country music. I've never actually noticed the difference in any of these musics, to be honest with you. As soon as the battle starts, I don't hear anything. But anyway, by the by. Yeah, those of you that have been on the channel know I like to come in sometimes with a bit of a topic or a bit of a story or something that's just been on my mind. And what's been on my mind is the practice of doing that, of coming into these videos with something to talk about, with a story or whatever. Because we have to do the actual Pokemon thing now. He's got a Golurk, and I know that's his Terra, and I can't remember what Terra types. I might have to look it up mid-game if it seems relevant. So the Lantern came. I did think the Lantern would come. No Mandibuzz. Oh, that's huge. No Mandibuzz. He brought the silly fish over a Mandibuzz. I'd understand if it was like a good fish, like Quillfish, but Lantern? I don't get that one. Oh my days, no Florges either, right? Is that the Electrode over Florges? Wow. What the fuck is he switching into my fucking Darkrai? Hydreigon? Wait, Iron Boulder isn't here either. I did think that I had a pretty good Iron Boulder matchup. So what came instead of the Iron Boulder? Golurk, Scissor. Oh, the Qua. Did I know he had the Qua? I don't know if I knew he had the Qua. Maybe I did. Every time I have to write stats for games, and I have to try and remember that fucking thing's name. I'm like, I don't know. One, I don't know its name. Two, I don't know how to spell its fucking name. Spelling this thing's name literally gives me Lisdexia. It cannot be done. I do not understand it. I have a fucking aneurysm every time. Oh, you whore! This is fine. I have the Wakan Berry. It was supposed to be for the Lantern, though. I wanted to nasty plot. Maybe I should have just nasty plotted on the Lantern, switch him. Anyway, so I was thinking about like this channel, how it's gone over the years, and I was like, when I first started this channel and I started doing Draft League on it, my idea, I always wanted to start doing Draft League when I started the channel. I'd been watching a lot of Nuzlocks and I started doing Nuzlocks, but my favourite Nuzlockers, people like Shady Penguin or whoever, they were also doing Draft Leagues, a lot of them. So I was like, okay, I want to do Draft League, and when I got into Draft League, I started the channel, my idea was that people could learn along with me, because I was a total newbie. So I was like, people can watch and they can follow the trajectory of a newbie and learn. So if you go back to my first Draft League games, it's bad. But look back to the oldest videos on this channel, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. See? It's not a good fish though, Frank. You can't lie and tell me that's a good fish. It's a bad fish. I think I need to just stay in and attack. I'm so sad this didn't get to do pop off a bit more. Because he led with the fucking electrode. I did nothing! I presumably calced this and thought it would do a lot more than that. Okay, that's fine. The thing is, I can't afford to get anything else. T-waved. So... Wow, that really did nothing. I guess I calced it at +2. I think he just stays in and discharges, so... I probably take 1, I think, right? Okay, he does switch. Why into the electrode? Didn't bring a ground type, he's brought 2 electric types. I'm screwed. Yeah, it doesn't matter anyway. Okay. So when I started this channel, I just wanted to... I'm just going to let this thing go down. It didn't get to pop off like I wanted it to, but it got a little bit of chip off on the lantern, so that's okay. I wanted to do a channel where I spoke about, like, learning the game. And then, as time went by, you know, in Gen 7, I got to be okay at the game. In Gen 8, I got to be respectable at the game. And I won... See, this thing is Fizz Def. I still have the Shooker, which is nice. You can just Volt Switch out on pretty much everything. If we go into this Scarf Fire Punch, he's taken no chip, so that's not going to do enough damage. Scarf U-turn is going to lose me momentum. This is the least valuable piece, even though it's still quite valuable. I wanna get a hazard up to stop him just freely fucking Volt switching around with his balls and his fish. So yeah, as I started to like improve at the game, I've regressed since then. But as I started to improve at the game, I was like, he fears the scarf, makes sense. Communism. Who let them in here? I felt like doing a channel like that wasn't quite the way anymore, and so I pivoted in Gen 8, and I made a decision in my head that, and I've said this before, that I wanted to be your favorite Draft League player's favorite Draft League player, right? I started trying to make content that I thought would appeal to people that play a lot of Draft League, and so he can't defog now, he can't SD, that's fine, and if he goes into Quaquaval to Rapid Spin, I'm going to Barb Barrage that thing, and try and poison it, which would be really nice. But coming into this gen, I haven't been soaking nearly enough time into it, and somewhere through like the middle of Gen 8, I was going through a period of my life where I was just like talking about whatever the fuck was going on IRL. I would just talk about it in my videos. So, you know, I would talk about what was happening at uni, what was happening with this, what was happening with that, and then that became kind of like my new thing, where I was just doing that. I was just sharing stories, talking about random odd topics, and then sometimes like narrating the game. And then in Gen 9, like, I found that my life has changed again, and I don't have as much like dramatic things going on to talk about. My life now is a lot of just sitting at home writing, to be honest. So I don't have these kind of stories that are happening when I'm at work, out and about, doing things like. So I'm sometimes sit down to record a game, and I'm like, I don't really have any crazy stories to tell right now that jump to mind. Like, I got plenty from life in general, but not from like the last week necessarily. And so I'd be like, okay, well, what can I talk about? I talk about this, talk about that. And I guess I felt this like obligation to. That's fine. I'm happy to trade that for 2 spikes. I wonder if that shows that that is choice scarf. The fact that that outsped me. 4. Would Scarf outspeed Darkrai? Well, he wouldn't know that it did. So he's got to expect either an Ice Beam or a... I'm going to over-predict and go for the Sludge Bomb, predicting Quaquaval or Hydreigon, and knowing that I'll be able to hit either of those. Terra Grass? Like, any chance? Terra Fairy? Imagine if it's Terra Fairy. Terra Fighting. See, I really should have looked at what Terra type this thing had, shouldn't I? Oh man, I nearly Psyshocked as well if I'd Psyshocked. So he's not Scarf then? Or he is and he's just going for that. Do I live? I don't live that, do I? Oh, I live that. Okay, good. I'm just going to Psyshock again. I wanted to Ice Beam on the potential Hydreigon. Ah, you coward, Matthew. You coward. But I thought he won't go into it on a Sludge Bomb. Is he double Scarf? If he U-turns here... It's okay. Yeah, so... I came into this game like kind of looking for things to talk about, and then I didn't feel comfortable anymore just making regular Draft League videos. I felt like an obligation to do something different, to not just make the kind of videos that I was making for years, like where I would just narrate the game, just talk through the game, just battle. I think that came from the switch from doing post-con to doing live-con, because in the old days, Gen 7, when we were playing on the 3DS, we had replays, right? And we talk over the replays, and I felt like my strength was that I could be analytical over replays. I felt that I was someone that talking back through the game could dissect, could take it apart. I felt like that was suited to the kind of content that I was making. But then when it came to live comming in Gen 8, I always felt insecure about live comming because I'm not a super energetic, hype person, you know, like it's very stereotypical, but I think of myself as this kind of slow Brit, where you have, American content creators who, it feels more natural when they're louder and more, have more personality almost, and I felt like that wasn't me, and so I had to somehow, come up with something different by, telling these stories or whatever, and I think it was something that I fell back into, but anyway, I was reading something the other day, and it was talking about, oh, that sucks, because I think he might be faster than me now. That really sucks. It is what it is. Yeah, so they were talking about sitcoms specifically, I think. Well, it's not a 6-0 if we break through paralysis here. Yeah. I made some trades before this went up. You'll have seen the full trades because I didn't bother to show you. You'll have seen. Some of them I didn't have access to this game, and I really wish I had access to them. This is looking rough. I don't have a lot else I can do. If I had Ice Beamed on that switch instead of being a coward. Okay, so we can force a KO here at least. I was reading something today, I was talking about sitcoms, and he was saying, essentially, once the sitcoms ran for so many seasons, and I think this is true of every TV show, and I was finding it really interesting, like, applying the thought to YouTubers. Once, not that I consider myself a YouTuber as such, but, like, I'm still someone who uploads to YouTube. I suppose I am, but not professional. Once the series has ran for so long, eventually, like, the characters in the show inevitably become a caricature of themselves. So, if you think about, I don't know, a show like Frasier, for example, for those who've seen Frasier, by the end of Frasier, he's significantly more whiny and essentially single than he was at the beginning of the show. In Friends, you know, Joey becomes stupider, Ross becomes more of a toxic partner. Like, there are various different, you know, things that happens. They all, you know, Monica becomes more like a neat freak. Chandler becomes less able to be sincere. You can think of so many examples from numerous beloved sitcoms. Is there a world where I sweep with Scarf Jirachi clicking Ironhead? I would need to remove the scissor, and then actually it's not impossible. This would need to go down 2 though. But the spikes are helping a lot. And I was thinking about that with YouTube and stuff, and I was thinking, well, to an extent, I suppose that's what I found myself doing. I suppose I found that after a few years of doing videos in a certain style, I've almost fallen into the trap of like becoming that's the only thing that I think that I should do and that I can do, to the point where it's almost slightly absurd. And I don't know, I've just been kind of thinking about that and thinking about YouTubers that I've watched, and you know, if a YouTuber got a reputation for being slightly wholesome, for example, and then it just became more and more and more until they were like almost cleaner than clean, or YouTubers that were supposed to be kind of erratic. You know, to give an example, someone like Blunder, for example, there's a certain performative feeling to some of his videos where, you know, he's flexing, he's making these plays, that plays, shouting, being hype about it. I'm not saying that none of that's real at all, but I'm just saying that like there's a I could bullet punch. Maybe this can turn it around with Stella. Maybe. This into Jirachi, maybe. Yeah, and I do feel like with Blunder's videos, to give an example, not that he's fake in any way, but that you find people mimicking him, people trying to copy him. I found this for years now in the draft league space, people trying to talk like Blunder in their messages, act like him. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's some other role model that he's copying, that these people are copying too, but I feel like it's his influence. I really hope this thing isn't Scarf. If this thing isn't Scarf, then I think this could do a lot of damage. But the fact he went straight into this makes me think it's Scarfed. So yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about whether there's whether there can become. No, he probably went into this in case I was choice banded into Bullet Punch. There can become an element of YouTube that becomes some sort of performative and like a caricature of yourself, and whether I've been a little bit guilty of doing that, whether I've been a little bit guilty of thinking like I need to make videos in this style, in this way, because that's who I am in this space, and if I deviate from that, then I'm somehow letting people down. I'm somehow betraying like the real me, or the me that they think of as the real me, and I'm always very interested in that kind of thing. This is probably terribly like self-indulgent, right? But so my thinking is, if I switch out here, I can reset the Stella, which probably means I could Oko this with. Can Hydreigon kill me in one shot? No, but BP into whatever it can do probably can kill me. So I probably just HJK, and then Bullet Punch, and then hope I flinch with Jirachi. I think that's the sequence I go for. By the way, HJK, so much better than CC. I don't care what people tell you. Don't run CC. Don't be a coward. So I think that will be basically in Ironhead range when it comes back in after spikes. I think it's been taking spikes. I haven't paid close enough attention. But yeah, so I don't know. I've been really this idea has been on my mind a lot. Oh, I took this off the layout and it was not dead. I don't know if it can kill me though. I'm gonna click HJK again. I should have sword stanced on the scissor. Maybe I should have sword stanced on this. Don't die. See, if we had been running in close combat, we wouldn't have taken all these hits. You know what I'm saying? This is why you don't run close combat. Because you run HJK, you hit your moves, and it's just better. It's stronger. It looks more manly. You get to tell everyone you've got massive testicles. Just run HJK. It's no drawback unless you're bad and you miss. And I'm not bad, so it's fine. I am bad and I'm being carried by Lucario right now. My god, this thing is broken. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. So that's what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about, you know, for example, when I come onto Discord and I interact with people on Discord, you know, I still interact in the same way with people that I've been interacting for maybe the 5, 6, 7 years that I've been on Discord. Because I feel like when you're in a bit of, for me at least, when you're in a big public arena like Discord where there's lots of people in there. So obviously is going to go for the bullet punch. We can out-prioritize and bullet punch ourselves. If he sword stances, I'm pretty sure 2 this might even just kill off rip. I don't know. No. I didn't know how much the stellar boost would really do for us there. Not enough is the answer. Yeah, I feel like there's an element of like expectation, or like, I don't know, do you guys ever put an expectation on yourself? Like, say I go see my friends from school. I don't really see my friends from school at all anymore. And I think a large part of that is that I feel like, so I basically have to try and flinch down the Hydreigon. I always knew I would. Maybe the fact that he hasn't been bringing the Hydreigon out on the Lucario suggests that he was, I could have gone into this on that BP, and then I could have BP'd the Hydreigon later on. But I just think I'm going to have to flinch the Hydreigon once anyway. Like, I just feel like that's the way that it is. But maybe it should have revealed that he was slower than me. The fact that he's just been unwilling to bring out that Hydreigon. I don't know. Maybe I've thrown this endgame by not going into Jirachi there on the BP. Jirachi might be able to take one anyway, right? I'm a fucking Jirachi. Like, I'm fairly naturally bulky. Oh, I thought that would be a 2-hit KO. Jirachi sucks. Live. Okay, we do take one. We do take one. Prove to me that you don't suck, Jirachi. Oh, we need a couple of flinches. When there's a Serene Graces away. So would my bullet punch have done enough, seeing how much this Iron Head does? I don't think my bullet punch would have done it. Oh, we didn't get a single flinch! You suck, Jirachi! You're off the Christmas tree! And you got crit! What is the point of you? I do not get this Pokemon. I drafted it. I've never drafted it because I've always thought it sucked. And people that I trust tell me it sucks. But Addison thinks it's good, and it fit on this team, so I was like, I'm going to draft Jirachi. I don't get this Pokemon. I don't understand it. It's just not Metagross or Bronzong. It's like, or Lucario. It's like not specialist enough in anything. It's just like, what are you doing here, Jirachi? You don't kill things. You don't live forever. Like, what are you? I don't like it as a Pokemon, but I've already used all of my trades. Fucking Jirachi, man. I wanted the flinch win. I wanted to hax Frank out and say to him, haha, you're bad, you lost us. Replay flinches. I definitely probably should have saved Lucario. I wonder if the Hydreigon, if I had clicked that Sludge Bomb on that Hydreigon and all that Ice Beam earlier on, we would have fucking maybe won this game. Fuck me and not getting my balls out sooner. GG to Frank, really good game to him. Just to finish the thought I was starting, was that, you know, if you've been around people, like, when you were younger, say you're school friends, I'm now nearly 30, if I hang around with my school friends again, and this is part of the reason I don't, I feel like there would be an expectation to perform the character that they see me as, the person that I was at 18 when they last knew me very well. And I'm not that person anymore. I'm very different. My views are very different. The way I act is very different. The way I talk is very different. My life has changed. I mean, so much around me has changed since I was a kid. To act like that still would be literally acting. It would be stupid. But there's a feeling of expectation and pressure to do that. And so if you then go back into those roles and you find that you do that naturally, and we all do it. People like to be like, I never fake anything. I'm so real. Shut up. Like, if you're around people and you want to fit in, like, we all will, you know, have a certain way that we do things. And you end up becoming like a caricature of who you used to be. You end up becoming an extreme version because you're remembering the version that you think they remember of you, and you're trying to then recreate that remembrance, and it's just a mess. Like, the chain becomes a mess, and you end up playing the character of a character of a character, like Frasier, Ross, whoever you want to name from sitcoms. And you end up doing that in real life, and I'm really intrigued how that applies to YouTube, because, you know, there will be long-term subscribers that I'm sure other YouTubers who are much bigger than me feel like they want to grow and do different things, but feel an expectation to stay for their subscribers. Now, I've never felt any pressure from anyone in the comment sections to do anything. But even I, with my small audience, you guys, thank you for watching, I've put pressure on myself to, like, I need to do this kind of draft league video. I need to do this kind of content. To the point where it's like, maybe I've enjoyed making videos less and I've been unhappy with my videos. I was uploading a season where I was pretty much just commentating the games turn by turn, chatting away, like, focused, and I felt like people aren't going to enjoy this. This is going to be bad content. I felt like I needed to be doing something weirder, something more like this, where I just ramble nonsensically, even though I'm probably the only one who enjoys doing this. You guys probably do not enjoy acting like my counselors, but you know what I'm saying? I'm going around in circles a little bit. I think it's an interesting concept. Let me know what you guys think down below if you've made it this far in the video. I think it's an interesting concept, the idea of kind of people being themselves on YouTube, but as years go by and they change, then feeling like they have to recreate that version of themselves for their audience, to the point where they no longer in real life are aligned with the person they are on camera, and so they feel a dissonance. They feel like there's an act to it all. I think that's an interesting subject, and someone smarter than me can figure out the details. I'm just going to yell about testicles again, because apparently that's my caricature. Great. Hopefully that all made sense. GG to Frank. We're 0-2. Fuck! Next week I'm going to win. I'm just not going to bring the stupid Jirachi because it's stupid and I don't like it. Thank you so much for living around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.